ESL quarter of Euros 2009. My name is Nick Long, I'm the chair of this panel. With me on the panel are Will, Sean, Eugene and Uwe. In opening government in this debate we have the team from Erasmus A. In opening opposition we have the team from Leiden C. In closing government we have the team from Tilbury B. And finally, in closing opposition, we have the team from Tel Aviv B. So many congratulations to all of those teams for having got this far. Please turn off any pages or mobile phones that any of you may have. And without any further ado, to propose the motion that this House would allow the police to physically discipline children below the age of criminal responsibility, or something along those lines. And to tell us who's been a naughty boy, please give a very warm welcome to the Prime Minister from Erasmus A.
I'm going to back my... Sorry, I won't do that again because now I don't need it anymore. Thank you for the floor, Mr. Speaker. Our plan is simple. What we see right now is that the police is very unable to correctly discipline children, to make sure that what we try to do in our entire system can effectively be used upon children. Where with adults we say we punish you a lot later on and then it will be effective in correcting your behavior. We see that this does not work with children. One, because we do not have the means. Two, because relying upon the parents will often delay the punishment, if at all, create any punishment. This is unfair to the children, unfair to the parents, and unfair to society, who later on bears that burden. So what we are going to do is say, within Western liberal democracies, police should have the ability to discipline children, basically give them a slap. We say, when it is necessary to actually bring them to court, have them prosecuted, then it stops. But there is a very large range before that, in which the police merely picks them up, says, you've been bad, I will bring you home and shame you. This is ineffective. And in these cases, we say the police should pick a kid up who is very small, who is putting tags upon buildings and say, asshole, don't do that anymore, and now I bring you to your parents. We believe that this is very effective. We believe that the reasons why we ban a lot of parents to do this is different from police, and I will explain you why. So first of all, I'm going to talk about children, why this punishment is actually effective. Then we're going to talk about the police, their role and why they are the excellent persons, the excellent institution to do this. And finally, I'm going to talk about rehabilitation and why that is most important in children and why this will actually create that. So to start off with children. To correct children is very difficult. For one, we already recognize they are not fully capable of understanding their actions. What will happen is that if you delay the punishment, and this is well known, is that if you delay the punishment, the link that these children make between what they've done wrong and the punishment they receive loses all effectiveness. You cannot truly correct them if you delay the punishment. If you allow the police officer, who is the one who is actually close by, to then slap the kid, you are going to be able to create a direct incentive, a direct stimuli which says you have done something wrong. This is a very good thing because we believe it is very necessary to children. This association is what we already do in all other cases. In all other cases we say we link the punishment, we link the corrective abilities that we have within our system to what you've done. To what you've done because we believe that if you have been bad, we as a society tell you, put an appropriate punishment upon you to correct that behavior. With children, this is the most effective way, because what you need is something which is simple, which is direct, doesn't take them away from schools or whatever, but just allows them to go on, but still creates this effective means of dealing with that. And before I continue, go ahead.
Okay, if it is so effective, why has physical punishment been abolished in schools to do by teachers in all Western
Thank you. Well, the thing is that in those cases we see a different type of relationship, and allowing a person to actually hit the child disturbs the relationship, which effect is far worse than allowing this case. But the police doesn't have that relationship. They are not some friend. They are someone who is on the surface of society correcting bad behavior. They are there to discipline. That is their sole job. For a teacher, we want them to teach you, and if you see them as an enemy, you can't. For a parent, we want them to provide you a loving home, and if they beat you, they can't. With the police, that's different, and that is what makes them the perfect institution to do this. So to move on to exactly that point about the police. Their first job is to protect and serve. The other thing is that they are the executing power of our laws. What they do is they serve as an intermediate for the people who assign punishments. they take you from the street, someone else assigns you punishment. We are going to slightly change that. We say in those cases where there isn't going to be any punishment, because we do not deem the act horrible enough to take away this child from its school, from its parents, and punish it in this very intrusive way, we say the police should be able then to execute a form of punishment with the idea of correcting them. I've already told you, no thank you, that the police is the excellent institution for this, because they are the ones who are right there. They can see this. They are already required to know the law, so they can know what proportionate punishment is. All this means is just to make it more exclusive. We have already within Western liberal democracies an ability to say, well, a police officer can go too far, but he has certain abilities to execute his job. We see so already when the police is allowed to use violence when necessary. We already allow them to make this decision when it is needed. This is no different. And if they go over the line, and we can set regulations for that, but that's not the issue in this debate, we can still punish them. So they will not abuse this power. In fact, what they will do is do their job more effectively. To be able to directly correct children will lead to a long-term benefit in which we are going to say society will actually be better off, because now we will be effectively able to deal with what is most annoying to most people. Children tagging, loud music, drinking on the streets, those kinds of things. It is very horrible, it is very annoying when you cannot correct these people, because when we say we either have two choices, no punishment or a very horrible one, the police is not able to truly do what it wants to do. That is keep the streets safe, clean, and better for everyone. So, as a society, we are merely saying, we already do this, we want this, but for some ideologic principle, we say we cannot. But even though we have all these control mechanisms to keep the police in check, then we say it will work. Why shouldn't they be allowed? Okay, so to move on to my final point. Rehabilitation. We already see within our current legal system that we have all these different means and different goals. But the main thing is that we want to keep society safe. What we say the most effective way to do so is to rehabilitate people and to not lock them up forever. When you deny the police this mean to correct children, you are basically saying we are not going to rehabilitate you until you are old enough to be fully punished. So, in most cases, we are then too late. We can no longer correct them. This kind of makes sense because they've been training to be a criminal for basically most of their young lives. And this is what we say. We should make this choice and say rehabilitation at this young age is what these children deserve. They deserve to be corrected upon this behavior so that they do not remain locked in within this idea. We already see that we already tried to do this, and we think this is actually perfectly capable to do with other means in which we say we try to approach these people. And what we do with rehabilitation right now is depend really heavily upon parents. That we say, yes, we want them to be punished. But we say the first right to punish them lies with the parents. But very often the parent is A, not effective in doing so because it is way too late. If hours after the act committed you punish, it doesn't work. And 2, how can we be certain that parents actually punish? We cannot, because very often parents say, it's not that big a deal, or worse, I don't really care. And especially these children are likely to fall within the trap of spiraling out of control and going into heavy criminality. This is unfair, and they need to be corrected to know that they've done something wrong. We already say someone else is responsible because they need to be corrected, they need to be told what is wrong. And if their parents don't do that, society, acting through the police, should. And for all those reasons, I beg you to propose.